Hello, and welcome to the Move Me Brightly podcast, where we actually have no objective and don't know what we're doing. Just me and Tom figuring it out as
Hell yeah.
people do in life. Welcome, Tom.
Hello, Blaine. How are you?
Hello. I think we're going to have a lot of dog barking today.
That's cool.
We
Add
picked
to
a
the
time.
atmosphere.
Does it?
Yeah, it
Drives
just
me
proves that we're
nuts.
real people living real lives. We're not special.
We're not celebrities. You
No,
may think that we're just like cruising around, like no worries.
we're not
Nothing like,
celebrities who famously don't have dogs. We're real
right.
people who have dogs.
Right. My neighbor's doing construction. I mean, I have a neighbor. I'm a regular person. My neighbor lives close enough that the dogs can see and bark at the
hmm
construction workers all day.
I live in a condo unit, so my neighbors are on the other side of the wall, right in front of me. That's the life I live, guys. Although having a condo in LA is pretty privileged,
Pretty
so
sweet.
it's
Pretty
not.
sweet
I mean, we're
is.
still we're still better than the average person. Don't get
Sure.
us wrong. Like we're not throwing up bears here,
Right. I
but
have a golden doodle, if that tells you anything. It's a
yeah.
fairly prestige dog. It's like moms who drink at lunch have a
What's your
golden
do- what's your dog's name?
mango.
Have you ever put Mango in like a competition?
No, he would fail. He runs away. Both my dogs have severe problems. Mango has a couple of problems. First of all, Mango's a boy, and
That's a huge problem. Already bad start.
nobody can understand that Mango's a boy. Like Charlotte, everyone knows Charlotte's a girl. Mango has a wiener. Like he's a boy dog. Everyone refers to him as a woman. So I think he's got some identity issues. And then, secondly, Mango thinks it's fun to run out the front door and run away straight toward a very busy street that we live near. Happens about once a week. I don't know what to do about it. We fenced in the entire yard. He just leaps over the fence.
Regarding Mango's gender identity,
Yes.
I have a couple thoughts on that.
Is it his name?
Well, I think the name is a little androgynous.
Sure.
It can kind of go either way. Charlotte is very much a feminine name.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know any human men or boys named Charlotte, but I know
Right.
several women. Mango is obviously not a human name. It would be a cool
Mm-hmm.
name for a boy or a girl, but it could go either way. So there's that. I think the other thing you mentioned, the wiener. I think in general with dogs, like you really have to be looking to find a penis on a dog.
But he lifts his leg when he goes potty.
That's the giveaway.
Right.
Because there
He's
are
not a squatter.
some male dogs will squat to pee,
Yeah,
but no female dogs will lift their leg to pee.
exactly. If I
Right.
was a male dog, I might squat to pee.
I sit to pee a lot.
Yeah. I mean, why wouldn't you take a break?
I I don't see
Yes.
a problem with it.
No, no.
What's the big advantage of standing up to pee? I mean, obviously it's like an expediency thing. So
Sure.
that part is nice. You can just go down, go over, whip it out, throw it back inside you, and you're good to go. Wash your hands. But
Yeah.
sometimes you want to take a moment.
Yeah. You want to make sure you're fully dry. And as I'm getting
Holy
older,
crap.
sometimes my first pee is not all the pee I have.
hmm
It's
hmm
like I'll pee, and then if I sit for just a moment, I'm like, I could pee a little more.
Well, that's why men famously do the shake.
Yes.
They shake at the end to
Yeah.
get those last little droplets out.
Oh, I didn't. Oh, I thought that was just to like clean it off, dry it off.
I mean, no, it's more is I mean, I guess technically it's accomplishing that, but it's more to make sure there's no like little last going on.
Right. Well, you wouldn't want to resheathe and then have a little more pee. That's a
Which
problem.
which happens.
I'm
It
sure.
happens sometimes. Or sometimes there's a weird thing too with the male anatomy and like the pressure on it.
Mm-hmm.
Like sometimes if the zipper touches the bottom, it can like press and more will come out that you didn't know was there. So you have
Mm-hmm.
to be sure. That's what you always
You have
have
to
to
be
shake.
careful.
Yeah.
You know, women, I mean, after having two babies, I can be peeing at any moment.
hmm
It's just like I could just have a sneeze and just a little pee came out. It's real. It's wild.
It's like the
Really.
levees in New Orleans. They're barely doing anything, you know,
Correct.
at this
Yeah.
point.
I mean, sometimes I just, yeah, actually, I won't go any further, but it is wild. Just standing up a little too fast, you're like, oh, and
Yeah.
then you're like, oh, do I need to go to the bathroom? And then you're like, no, I'm good. Just a
Mhm.
little, just
You know what I'm fascinated by, and I think this is pretty universal. Maybe I'm adding myself as having kind of a weird having some weird bodily functions, but like you go number two,
sure.
and for me, I know it's done when I
Hmm.
like the
Oh,
pee at the ending of it, even if it's just a little pee. It's
I,
just like, okay, I know I'm good.
I, I mean, I'm blown away, but
Maybe it's just
we need to ask some other men.
pull some people. Yeah,
Yeah, I'm gonna ask Jimmy as soon as he gets home.
I would say it's like 90% of the time I go. There's always like a little bit, and I'm like, okay, that's the sign.
That's
I don't
where
need
it's
to wait
over.
and make sure there's nothing else on its way. Like we can wrap this up for now, put a bow on it. See you in a few hours or tomorrow, maybe a
Whatever.
week, depending on
Well,
what I've been eating. Who knows?
who
But
knows?
that's kind of the thing. And then to go back to sitting down during peeing, I think like if I have to wake up in the middle of the night because I have to pee, I'm just gonna go do it in and out, no big deal. But like
Hmm.
if I'm at work or if I'm on set all day and you get an opportunity to sit down for a couple minutes, fucking take that.
Sure.
What a gift,
What a gift.
you know?
This is a good. This is pretty gross, but so there's a whole school of women who, if they go to like a gas station or a public restroom, a Target, what have you, will do a hover
Yes.
to pee.
Hmm.
And I truly only hover if I'm at a show and I'm in the porta potty. I'm
Porta
not sitting,
potties. Yeah,
not
porta
sitting
potties you
down.
always cover.
If it is a gas station that is like there's something in the toilet, or it is just like, or someone else, a man has gone before me and not, and there's pee on the lid, obviously I'm hovering. I'm not disgusting. But if I'm just at like a Target and from the naked eye, the top looks fine, I'm going to just sit down. And
Hmm.
I'm 40, almost 41 years old. Knock on wood, hadn't killed me yet, you
Hmm.
know? So I'm not about to like change my ways at this point. So I don't have to be at home to have a leisurely pee. Hovering is tough on the thighs. It's a
It is.
balancing act. It's also like very hard to get all the pee in the toilet. There's all of these like other factors where if you just sit down, good to go.
Yeah, you're good to go. I think definitely porta potty, no matter where I am. If it's a porta potty, I mean, for me, obviously I can stand, but if it's something else that I have to do in there where that
Sure.
requires sitting, hovering 100% all the time.
Hovering. Yeah.
I think in general, public restrooms, I have no problem sitting on them. I will normally use I'll always wipe the lid, no matter how clean it looks. I'll always grab a bunch of toilet paper, wipe it down, and then I'll use the sheet thing.
Oh, you use the sheet.
I use the
I've
protect.
used the sheet sometimes,
Um,
but
if it's the basically if it's either good enough where I can do anything in there, meaning like sit down, or I'm not using it if it looks bad. Like I'm not even peeing in the thing if it's gnarly, you know?
what if
Like I'm
what if
fine
you're
at
on a road trip and you're at a you have to.
I'm a guy. I just pee on next to the building. Just go
Oh, oh,
whip that thing out, look like I'm talking on my or texting on my cell phone, take a little wheeze, you know?
whatever.
Yeah,
Um, have you been to the gorge? You didn't go to the
I
gorge
have.
with it. So one of the Jimmy took me to the gorge. We've been dating 4 months. It was like other than that trip to Charlotte, it was I think our first. It certainly was our first plane trip
The
together.
2011 gorge trip, probably.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. Um, and I was kind of nervous because it involved these are things that I did not do prior to Jimmy. Like it involved flying across the country, driving to the gorge, camping, And then you're just sort of like there. I didn't even know Jimmy that well. And, I have a fear of getting sick. I'm like, what if I like need to vomit and I'm in the freaking, I have all of these fears. And one of the things Jimmy told me to make me not have the fear is that the porta potties, which are called honey pots, are immaculately clean. That was a selling point. And they were. I don't know
Specifically
who
at the gorge.
at the gorge.
Mm.
Clean porta potties.
What a mensch to reassure you in that way.
Oh,
Like we're going to a spot with some great toilets. You have nothing to worry about.
you have nothing to worry about. If you need to vomit, you need to vomit. I have, and we're just stating it's a lot to be like, I have like a fear of like all stomach aches. It's like a terrible fear of mine. I specifically have a fear of vomiting and not, like being able to get to a bathroom or what have you. And he was just like, hey, babe, no worries.
You're gonna love these.
No problem. There's just no problem.
You could take a nap in there if you
I
wanted.
just, just go hang out.
This was for those listening. The Gorge is a venue in Washington State, and we're talking about going to see Fish concerts there, which I went
Yes.
in 2009 and then again in 2013. 2009, I went solo to the Gorge.
It's just one of those things that I think I had apprehension because there was so much new to me. It's only been the one time. But if Jimmy today was like, you want to go to the gorge? I'd be like, yes. It was just, I really enjoyed it. And now I can really, yes, knock on wood, there's not really a fish show environment that you could put me in that I wouldn't be like, I'm going to survive this. Or,
Mm.
I mean, not survive, but like, it, I'm going to be fine. We
Yeah.
had a fish run here in Atlanta last summer. Went the first night, just enjoyed myself to the nth degree. Stayed home the next night,
Yeah.
wasn't feeling it. Hit
Yeah.
the Sunday show, made it until right after a halftime set break, and then I was like, my feet are a
Halftime.
little tired. I'm gonna catch an Uber home, Jimmy. I'll see you at home. Called an Uber, went home. Now I missed an incredible second set, but you know, I've I've seen
You've seen it all.
a bajillion fish
Yeah,
shows.
you're
It's
not, there's
like,
nothing to chase. There's nothing to that you're missing anymore. Like I did the same thing last year. They played 3 nights at the Hollywood Bowl. I went to night one. That was it. Night two, my brother Cliff was in town, past guest, an alumnus of the show. He came out for it. We went to night one together. We both had a good time. We left before the encore to beat the traffic. And then for night two, we were debating if we were going to go back to Fish or go to a Lakers playoff game. It was the first round of the NBA playoffs. We both were like, Lakers, 100%. Let's go to the basketball game. So we did that. And then night three, he left during the day, and I was debating going, and I said, nah,
yeah,
I want to stay home.
I just
I just don't want to go
stream
out.
it, put it on the TV. That's,
Even that, I used to do that a lot, and I'm always like, I'm barely watching it.
I would never put it on the TV for myself, but I like to throw Jimmy that bone. Like, there's
Yeah, yeah, of course.
get the fire going. You don't have to leave the comfort of your
There's
living room.
and there's
Now,
something so nice about a local Fish show to go home into your own bed.
oh my gosh, I love Atlanta Fish. I love it. And a lot of times they play at Lakewood, which is just this shitty venue in the absolute ghetto of downtown Atlanta. Could not be more rundown. And it's where I saw my first show. It's where I saw like many, many subsequent shows in my high school, college years. It's just like it's going home. Jimmy hates it. There's another venue up in Alpharetta that's very nice and posh. And whenever Fish plays at Lakewood, he's like, this is an atrocity. And I'm just like, yeah.
They're
Like,
playing there this summer, right? In
I
Atlanta?
haven't looked.
Oh,
Is
thought they were.
last year it was Alpharetta.
Yeah, I thought they were doing more Alpharetta lately, but
Yeah.
they
I
are
just
playing at the Sphere in Las Vegas in like 2.5 weeks.
mm-hmm.
And I was texting a buddy of mine, a filmmaker friend out in LA who's a huge Fish fan, and I asked him if he was going. And I haven't really looked into it much. I'm like, I went to the Sphere last Thanksgiving, which it was amazing. And I know it would be incredible to see any concert there. And so I asked him if he was going, and he's like, yeah, I finally secured tickets for all 4 nights. I got the lottery for 2 of them, and then I had to splurge on the like VIP passes for the other 2 nights. He said he spent $800 a ticket on
Hmm.
this. And so I just went on StubHub to look at the prices. You can't get into that building for less than $500.
So that's her anniversary, 420. You were there.
Mhm.
Um, and so we were planning on going, and it's just like seems too expensive.
Yeah, I mean it is a thing where like as people like us who have seen way too many shows from one band that any normal person considers truly psychotic behavior.
Hmm.
Um, that is kind of like there are those little things like that, especially because it's so local, that would be cool and new. Like when Fish goes and plays on the beach in Mexico, or if they ever played in Japan or Europe, like that stuff all sounds fun, but I'm not going to go to Japan. If I go to Japan, it's not going to be to see Fish.
Right.
I go to Japan to go to Japan. Maybe when I was 19, that would be something I would consider. But now it's like if they're playing in Prague or something, I want to go to Prague because I want to go to Prague, not because Fish is playing at Prague. But the Sphere is such a unique venue, and it's a 4 hour drive or like a 45-minute flight. I can get there in an afternoon. That seems like one of the last truly novel things
Hmm.
I could maybe do with this band, but I just don't know if it makes sense with the price.
So if we go, we're gonna. So I also have another commitment that weekend with all my best friends are
Getting high.
we're turning 40 this year, so it's a like a beach trip with all my best friends. So I would only go the first night. And so I like have to fly to Vegas for one night. Flying to Vegas really messes me up too. It's like just long enough that you're kind of like, oh, that was a taxing flight.
Yeah.
But anyway,
I mean, for
it
me, it's easy because I just get on the desert, drive up there. I get the free parking and the free rooms because I gamble a lot. So it's pretty convenient.
in the high roller.
No, no, but I just gamble a lot.
So they just give you a free room.
It's funny. The last time I was in Vegas was last November, and I was with a buddy of mine from New York, and we were gambling a lot, and I just kept raising and raising the stakes, and he was kind of just like, okay, let's do it, whatever. And we did at one point. I went to a high limit baccarat room with a $500 chip and played one $500 hand of baccarat.
Did you win?
It was terrifying. I won, doubled my money, got up from the table, and the dealer was like, "Really? That's it?" I'm like, yeah, I can't do this for an hour. Are you
You should
insane?
try day trading.
Yeah,
I get $500 at the table at all times.
it was nuts. That was really fun. But you also like there are a lot of casinos now. I know there's like old Vegas, so you can go to a lot of the old more rundown casinos, but like for blackjack odds now, you have to play like the $100 tables to get 3-2 blackjack odds instead of 6-5, and all these things that they keep doing to add to their advantages.
Just try to get you in that free room.
That'd be nice, maybe one day.
Um, is sort of gross as it sounds to the general fish community, which um I'm kind of like, yeah, I could see fish in the sphere. Like that'd be cool. The sphere looks cool. Yeah. But then Dead and Company's going, and I'm like, I must. And I think it's
Oh,
just
interesting.
so like new and novel to me. I like only became a Dead fan after John Mayer took over, which judge me all you want. That's fine. I'm
No, he's great.
obsessed.
Yeah.
Obsessed. Like it is by far my favorite thing happening in music right now. And I'm just like, I mean, non-negotiable. I'm going to that.
Are they
It,
they're playing at the Sphere?
I
That's
think they're
been
having like a residency. It's significantly more shows than Fish.
oh wow.
Maybe not a residency, but it's a much longer
Something
run.
like probably you two did. I think they basically booked it for a few weekends over the course of like 3 months
Yeah.
to open up the Sphere.
Yeah.
So maybe it's something like that, which that makes sense too, because that would ultimately be more affordable of a trip
Hmm.
probably to go see. Like if you
Yeah.
don't go to the first weekend or whatever,
Yeah.
when it's all new and exciting. I don't know. there's also UFC 300 is the week before,
Okay.
which is also in Vegas. So I've been trying to decide if I can figure out some massive little me trip where I hit the biggest UFC pay-per-view in years, hang around for a few days, hopefully win a bunch of money, and then go to
Pay
fish.
for the trip.
Pay for
Would
the
you
trip.
would you be there for the eclipse too? Because
When is the eclipse?
next Monday.
No.
No.
Um, well, no. UFC is like whatever, a week from Saturday, so the 13th.
Mm,
So it would be after.
cool.
I never know. I always find out late on that stuff.
The eclipse?
Well, just like cool stuff in the sky.
Sure.
I never know about cool things in the sky. I remember I was living in New York and there was a blood moon,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
and I had no idea it was happening, and I just happened to see it because
Coincidence.
I was out till like 5 in the morning drinking.
Yeah.
So I was walking home and there were a bunch of people looking up at the sky, walking home. I'm like, what's going on? And I saw, I'm like, oh, that's cool. What is that? They're like, it's the blood moon. We all woke up for this. And I'm like, oh, all right, I'm gonna go to bed. Have fun. Yeah.
Yeah, this is like I don't eclipses don't really do it for me, but conspiracy theories do. So I that's how I've learned, a little bit. This is the first like pattern eclipse. It's the first one in like 400 years. It's going to be full darkness
Mhm.
along the path. So that's a huge deal. So people are flying to the path to be able to experience the full darkness. And then multiple states that the path that that contain the path have already declared states of emergency, which is very odd. It's more on the conspiracy thing. But and I was like, no, they haven't. Or like, but there have been government announcements going out, like make sure you stock up on food and water for an eclipse. Like what? And then today I got something from the kids' school that was like eclipse prep plans. Now it wasn't stock up on food and water, but they're doing like special dismissal where they keep the kids in the school and people are
Isn't
like
a full eclipse only a
doing
couple minutes
things.
long?
This one is an hour or so.
Oh, so it'll be fully dark along the path for an hour.
Yeah.
Okay, that's significant.
Yeah.
That's significant. I thought it was gonna be like 5 minutes.
I've never in my life seen the world go dark from an eclipse.
Yeah, because like it's not just like saying just hang out at night, because obviously you have the reflection of the sun off the moon. So like if you don't even have that, it's interesting. I mean, I don't think I would fly out for it, but that's also just me just not wanting to leave my house ever.
People will post videos. I can watch a video.
I can
Ooh, that's
I can
cool.
take a video with my camera with the lid on it and pretend I was at the eclipse. Yeah,
That's what
act like I was there. Why not? Just time lapse that shit. It'll be great.
sell that photo to like
Yeah,
Getty.
yeah. Give it to the AP.
Yeah.
Look at this. Can you believe it?
I
You
would
can
like
hear me
credit.
talking. You can't see anything.
Put my name on that bad boy.
Yeah, it'd be great. I don't
Yeah.
know. That's cool, but I don't. But an hour is like, I mean, that'll affect like you have to make sure the roads are clear.
What is
Businesses.
it? So there's no sign. It's not
I mean,
this is
if you're saying a
actually
full eclipse, that means there's no light emanating from the sun onto the planet.
what somehow that didn't register. I was like, why not? It's nighttime. We have lights.
Yeah, but the moon is a reflection of the sun, like along the pole, bouncing off the moon, hitting the planet. Like the moon is still sunlight, so if the sun is completely blocked, then there's nothing reflecting onto the earth.
They said that you could come get your kids early if you're like want to experience this with them or whatever. Maybe I'll get them early. I mean,
I mean, you know, it would be fun if you were in like high school or college during the eclipse,
mm-hmm.
and you just like put everyone in a room, and you're just like partner up for an hour. Go have fun.
It's
No
like
one, you won't
it's
even.
it's like a leap year.
Yeah,
It's like an hour that doesn't count.
yeah, just like do whatever you want. All bets
Yeah.
are off.
Yeah.
You want to touch something, you want to touch someone, go for it. Throw your fingers around, see where it lands.
Do you
Like,
get to choose your partner, or it's like a lottery system?
I think that's maybe it's like if you're really attracted to a girl who you know has a boyfriend and you know she's kind of into you too, and you're like, this is our chance to get away with it.
Yeah.
We got we got an hour. He'll
Sure.
never know.
Sure.
Let's just
Sure.
do this right now.
Total
Or
darkness.
I mean, it's kind of like 7 Minutes in Heaven, the old game,
Sure.
but for an hour and everywhere. Everywhere can be your closet for that hour.
It's it's like the song total eclipse of the heart. There's a joke somehow there, but
I mean, there are words in similarity, but
eclipse,
I don't know what
total
it is.
eclipse,
Total eclipse, yeah. I mean, heart, I'm talking about
heart. Yeah.
romance.
There's
More like
something.
total
Yeah.
eclipse of the boner, but there's something
People smarter than me.
there. Yeah,
A comedian could really.
yeah, an actual comedian.
Where's Jerry Seinfeld? Do we have an in with him? We ought to send
Dude,
that to him.
yeah, he lives next door to me. He's in an
All right.
apartment 26.
Shoot him an email. Just
I,
hey, Jer Bear,
will just go
got,
knock on the door.
got an idea for you.
I wonder how the eclipse will affect animals. Like if my cats will be aware of it and start getting nervous or something.
So also, this is I learned of it through the conspiracy vein, but this is mainstream news.
Mhm.
NASA is firing 3 rockets during the eclipse, which is, I don't know why. I haven't looked into it. I don't care. That doesn't seem like wild to me, but it is. I just keep seeing it. NASA's firing rockets.
Let's look it up. Why is NASA firing rockets during the eclipse?
Yeah, let's do that.
Why is NASA firing rockets? The eclipse.
Could be their only shot to get to the moon, since we've never been.
NASA will launch sounding rockets and WV-57 high altitude planes to conduct research on aspects of the sun and Earth that's only possible during an eclipse. The efforts are part of a long history of attempts to gather invaluable data and observations when the moon temporarily blocks the sun's light. Huh.
What are you gathering about the sun if it's blocked?
Space Agency said will launch as part of the atmospheric perturbations around eclipse path APEP mission from NASA's Wallops Flight Facility in Virginia. They'll be taking observations of how the sudden drop in sunlight affects the ionosphere. Okay. How do they even think of this shit?
I don't know, but also that's a lot of words that I don't know, which leads me to be like, hmm. If
The-
you were conspiracy minded, can you think of anything that those rockets would be doing, like other than testing the
I mean,
iambic?
I could only imagine, like, on a stupid level,
Sure.
it's like the equivalent of Deep Throat meeting in the garage to talk about Watergate. Like
Mm-hmm.
in a dark, secluded area, like maybe they're going up to talk to aliens, like in the corner during complete darkness. Be
Or
like,
like,
we got the cure for cancer. We're not going to use it, but we appreciate it. See you.
maybe there's so believe what you want if we've been to the moon or not. I don't believe we've been to the moon, but I understand that you do, and most of the world does. But I think,
Are you hold on. We don't even have to get into that yet. Are you a flat earther?
um,
Oh God.
no,
Okay.
no, I am not a flat earther. No, and the flat Earth doesn't really have anything to do with going to the moon to
I
me.
know.
Like, we live
I
on
just
a
want to know who I'm
sphere.
dealing with. I want to
Sure,
know who I'm dealing with.
we live on a sphere. There's gravity. It rotates. We have seasons. Sure. Like, yes, that all makes sense to me. If if I was living on this earth and had not been shown images of like Earth, oh my God, did you leave? Had not been shown images of the Earth floating in space as a sphere, and then like every image I've ever seen of the Earth, it's a sphere, I would believe we're living on a flat surface.
Yeah, just like,
As would you, right?
well, yeah, if I had no knowledge.
Right.
Yeah. Sure, though
So,
it looks flat when you look outside.
yeah. So if I'm now so deep into the conspiracies that if something happened, anything happened, I'd be like, I could see it. So if like breaking news came out tomorrow and they were like, this just in, the earth is flat, I'd be like, I wouldn't be like, I'm shocked. My entire worldview is shattered. I'd just be like, yeah,
Yeah.
seems
Well, because it
whatever.
doesn't really affect your life.
What do I care?
It's a
Can I get
sphere.
on a plane and go? Yeah. Can I? Otherwise, what do I? Sure, Earth's round.
Mhm.
Whatever. We haven't been to the moon, but the Earth's round.
Yeah, I mean, I think even without looking at images from space or whatever, there's like the fact that people have done trips around the world is proof enough that it's not flat. Like you can't start and end in the same spot going in one general direction if you're not on a sphere of some kind or a round object. Like if it was flat, you would end at a point.
Oh, you'd like go off?
Yeah, you would have to turn around to return if the earth was flat. Like to be able to start and end at the same point going in one direction. You can't do that if it's flat. You would have to loop around in some way, which implies curvature, you know.
Here's one flat Earth thing that I think is it's just a brain tickle. I'm not saying I'm Earth is round. Why haven't we ever seen an image like zoomed in on Australia with buildings upside down? I would like to see that image. Like, there's just people on this earth living upside down.
That's gravity.
And the gravity is at the pole is at the center of the earth. So like
Gravity, yeah,
wherever you are on the earth.
gravity is pulling you to the center, towards the center of the earth. Like
Okay. So
the
when you're in space and there's no gravity, it's because you've gotten away from the center of the earth.
yeah, Earth's gravity is a very specific set of numbers that is not the same as on other planets or
Where
moons.
does it come from? What's the source?
The moon.
What? The moon.
Yeah,
if if people are living upside down on a sphere, the source has to be the core of the earth.
it is.
But then how's the moon involved? The moon would be in the gravitational rotation,
It's in its orbit. Yes.
which is caused by gravity at the center of the earth.
Yeah,
But then what causes the gravity?
the combined mass of the planet. So the mass of the planet affects the planet's gravity. So since the moon has a smaller mass, gravity on the surface of the moon is less intense. Whereas Jupiter, which is incredibly high density mass planet, the gravity is so strong that you can like lift your foot up off the ground.
That makes sense. Does the sun have gravity?
I believe so, yeah. I think all stars have gravity, I think.
It's like a gas. So maybe it doesn't. Maybe because there's no
Yeah, no,
mass.
the sun definitely has gravity.
Well, the sun has to have gravity, right? To keep everything in its orbit. So the sun has gravity, the earth has gravity. Do I have gravity? Like, why do some things have gravity and some
It
things
originates
don't?
it originates at your belly button.
I I am so stupid about like people. I mean, I like see the things and I'm like, good question. Because I don't know the answers. So I'm like, sure. But why haven't we ever seen anything upside down? I think that's strange.
Don't know what you mean. Why haven't we seen anything upside down?
If you're on a space station, couldn't you like zoom in to something in the southern hemisphere and see the buildings depending on where you are, either coming like at you or sort of going upside down? Whereas if if you zoomed in on North America, presumably the buildings would be going up.
Like if you're looking at the planet from a macro sense, you can see the entirety of Earth in your image.
Yes. Yes.
And you see the US on the top
Uh-huh.
and Australia on the bottom.
Yes. And
You
then you
just
zoomed
rotate the
in from
lens.
that perspective, right? No rotation of the lens. You just but people should be walking upside down.
But they're not looking upside
How is that wrong? How is
down.
that
Well, because
wrong?
them towards the center of the Earth is right side up. It's like that for them.
I understand what it's like for them.
Like they're not walking with their feet up here and their heads down here.
I know that. I no. I know of course I know that. But from a satellite perspective zoomed in, that image would not have, I mean, it would like it would have to have the bottom of the building connected to Earth, and then it would have to go
Downward.
downward. It would have to.
I mean, I guess, yeah, I guess they could take that photo. I guess, yeah. But that would just be like you sitting in this room flipping your camera upside down.
If I flipped my camera upside down, the image would still be right side up. It would be like captured in an upside down thing. But if I looked through it,
If you also rotated with the camera,
if
sure.
I went upside down and then
Yeah.
my camera was upside down, my perspective would be upside down.
Right. I mean, I think that that's a photo that could theoretically happen.
Wouldn't it be wild to see? Like you see a building hanging off the edge of the earth. It would be wild to see.
Okay, I'm looking up. Have there ever been photos from space capturing Australia upside down? It's the first hit. It's a Quora question. Why are there no photos of Australians walking around upside down? Oh God,
Great question.
that's so funny. That's so funny.
What's Quora?
It's like a question and answer website where
Oh,
like
well,
you can
what's
go.
the answer?
Okay, so is the moon in Australia upside down? The moon does look upside down in the southern hemisphere compared to the northern hemisphere. It is simply a matter of orientation. So, like what we're saying,
Sure.
the camera stays a particular way, then yes. Oh, and apparently people in New Zealand, like the man on the moon thing. Like if we look at the moon, some people
Yes.
see a man like a face. Apparently, people in New Zealand see it as a rabbit because they're looking at it upside down.
Great. I totally get that. I'm on board. Makes total sense to me.
Okay. Good. This has been helpful. I've learned something.
What about things on the circumference? Those should be jutting out.
Yeah. Like
Yeah.
walking up the side of a wall.
Well, when you're there on the ground in that location, everything's normal.
Mhm.
Just like it is for me and you. It is just from an outside satellite looking in. At some point, you will have in focus things like a building.
Mhm. I
It's a
think
query. It's a query, quandary.
so when you go on Google Earth
Mm-hmm.
and you look at and you type in an address in Australia, the image should show you everything upside down. Don't really consider that. Don't really.
Well,
No, because they have satellites orbiting the Earth. That was a joke.
so that their satellites are down lower,
Yeah, they have
or
satellites that orbit.
the Australian satellites orbit in a different way so that
Relative to us.
Australia's.
Sure. This might be the dumbest
Why
conversation
wouldn't
I've
the
ever had.
same satellite photograph Australia and the US? Do you have to have a different satellite for this freaking
Satellites,
southern hemisphere?
well, there are multiple satellites and they orbit, they're along the Earth's gravitational pull. So they orbit it. Just like the Earth rotates, these satellites rotate.
I'm here for that. But along that rotation, some buildings should be upright, some should be sticking out the side, and some should be upside down.
that matters at the point where the satellite is when they take the photo. So when they take the photo, the US is here, the satellite rotates, Australia rotates, and they meet at the same point. So the satellite is looking down at Australia, just like it's also looking down at the United States or Brazil or whatever.
Okay.
You know.
Yes.
I was gonna
Yes.
say something and now I forget. Um,
It.
yes, go
Do
ahead.
you think I'm just? This is the stupidest thing you've ever heard, and
I
you
mean,
just don't even know?
I'm also stupid in this. You're not alone in your stupidity with regards to these matters. Science was always my worst subject in school. I don't understand physics. I don't get it. I really struggle with that class. So I'm in the same boat as you. And I admire your inquisitive mind and your openness to getting all of the information that you can. Um, I do really appreciate that you're not a flat earther. That's good to know.
Sure. No, I'm a round earther. I just I find this one thing odd.
Yeah, I hear you. And maybe it's just not interesting to post those photos because it's like, oh, you just
It's wildly interesting. Wildly. We spend our whole lives contained by gravity. Gravity's a massive. It's just
you know what you can do to satisfy that urge? Watch Train Spotting. And in the scene when Ewan McGregor is withdrawing, he's on the bed, he's in the United States, the baby's on the ceiling, the baby's in Australia. There you go. There you go.
there you go. I bet AI could create these photos and then we're just NBD. We're done.
Yeah, but like the buildings would have like fingers on it. Be a whole mess.
Almost. Well,
There's
if
nothing
you're
satisfying
ever
about an AI image of that.
if you're ever just scrolling the internet and you see a building hanging upside down from the earth, text me immediately.
If I go to the moon, I promise you I will get that photo for you.
Okay.
That'll
Well,
be
you're
the
never
first
going to
thing
go
I
to the moon because you
don't know
can't.
that.
You can't. Oh, the reason I wanted, so I believe we haven't been to the moon. It's just that is what I believe. I understand the evidence and all the reasons why we've been to the moon. It's just a personal belief.
Mhm.
Um, but I think the reason that we haven't been to the moon, or one of the reasons, is because there's I guess the ozone layer, there's a layer of atmosphere around the earth that a rocket can't pierce. I just I just don't think we can like get out of the
So you
earth.
don't think we've ever been outside the Earth's atmosphere?
Well, that's interesting because I do believe in satellites. Anyway, my thought would be that during that eclipse, they would try to be launching something that has like in other failed in some other way or something to do it in the shadow of darkness. That's stupid thought.
I think that's interesting.
You know, that we haven't landed on the moon is the most run of the mill conspiracy theory like ever created. So there's a lot of people like me who believe that, and that's just it's like whatever.
There's a lot of crazier, more esoteric ones you can throw out.
Totally, totally.
What's one you got? What's a new one? I know you've been on the Kate Middleton thing.
I've been on the Kate Middleton thing. I had to drop it. I got a complaint.
Who?
Someone in my Instagram network thought it was just tacky of me to be talking about it. So
Was it
went
after
away.
the cancer
No, it
announcement?
was prior. It was
Oh wow.
prior. The cancer. The cancer is interesting to me because I cannot imagine more of a truth that could be dropped that would shut up
Shut all this down.
everyone. You just shut up.
Yeah.
Like who in their right mind would say something about a mother of 3 kids having cancer and being like, I think she's lying or what? Just shut up. And I think that that's odd that like that's the thing, because an affair we all could have kept talking, like all of the kind of other things would have just added to the mystery of it, but that's just like,
Yeah.
if someone's dealing with cancer, you got it, you just give them their privacy, right? You're like, it's a life and death battle, do with what you
I
need to
have
do.
still people, I still have seen people, I should say, picking apart that video though. There are
Well,
some people who are still going at it,
you know,
talking shadows, body parts moving weirdly. Like there's still people out there, but you're right. I've also seen a lot of people on like my Twitter feed or Instagram feed come out and apologize about ever
right.
theorizing
I
after that.
considered apologizing. But I didn't, because I
It was
just
good.
was like, shut up, nobody cares what I
Yeah.
think or
Also, like
say or
Kate
whatever.
Middleton's never going to see your apology.
Right. It's fine. Um, but the that video, the first time I saw it, which was as it was released, I'm live with everyone else watching it, gave me a strange vibe. I
Mhm.
don't know. I was like, something about this is like looks or feels strange to me. And then I just was overcome with guilt. Which is like, you are the worst person. And then it took me about 2 days to go through the emotions of like, what is wrong with you? You were like, people like you killed Diana. I really went down the guilt thing. And then I saw some still shots of the video, and some of the inconsistencies are, well, actually, only one I think is strange, which is the bars of the bench. On one side of her, the bars are like very thick, the back slats of the bench. And then on the other side, they're very, very thin. And I don't know why that would be, but regardless, I, it doesn't, I don't, I think it's true. But the Kate Middleton thing aside, the edited slash AI picture that she put out that had to be recalled like a week before the video came out. And then the video, which so the background of the video, I saw someone say this, and then I was like, oh, I think that's why I thought it was weird. The background of the video never moves, like not a breeze, not a anything. So I'm like, okay, maybe she's in front of like a green screen or something. But there's enough strange things with the video. Not that I don't think it's real, but it's like AI has kind of enhanced the video or something, that it just brings up such a massive, like, there's going to be a time in the very real future where AI is going to get so good that we don't really know what's real and what's not real as far as videos go. And I think that's very scary.
Yeah, I think you're right about that last point for sure. I think we're definitely heading towards that reality and a lot sooner than I think a lot of people anticipated, you know.
Yeah.
I read a lot about technology and the development of AI. Like I started reading this book that was published, I think in the late 80s called Super Intelligence, which is about that issue. And it includes like possible trajectories that a lot of people that are very knowledgeable in the field anticipate this coming on, and there it's more broken down into decades and then a percentage of people who think like not likely, very likely, somewhat likely, whatever. And the general consensus was they thought we would reach the point we're already at like 30 years from now. So some even said end of this century. So it's moving very, very quickly, even
Yeah.
compared to like 2 years ago
Yeah.
when people would try to do AI prompts and it would just be this nightmare concoction of like hands coming out of faces and all this weird shit. Um, I remember there was this website early on when AI started to propagate called, I think it was called This Person Is Not Real, and it was just like headshots of people that looked like real people, but they weren't. They were AI creations. But you could always tell because like if a person was wearing glasses, the lens frames on one side would be completely different from the lens frames on the other side. Obviously, the fingers were something that AI struggled with a lot, putting an extra digit
Yeah.
on people's hands and stuff like that, which is also kind of interesting because I know a lot of artists have like hands are considered a really difficult thing to
Very
draw.
difficult.
Yeah, so that's kind of interesting that AI had the same problem. But like that, which was 18 months ago, 2 years ago, compared to now, it's night and day. It's crazy.
There's a pretty famous, this is not a conspiracy that I'm into because I understand it, but it's not even a conspiracy. It's just the internet every once in a while goes on this thing that there are no pictures of Michelle Obama pregnant, which I don't care at all. There's no like pictures of me pregnant. I looked awful. I mean, there's like two that are on my phone. There's no on the web. The web would never know that I was pregnant. So I'm like, whatever. She didn't have her picture taken. But someone a couple of months ago dropped a picture of Michelle Obama pregnant, very pregnant in like a maternity thing, and everyone went crazy. Like, here's this like missing picture or whatever, and then she had 6 fingers.
Interesting. That's also like, who cares?
Who cares? I I was just giving an example of
Yeah,
a
yeah,
of a hand AI thing. Who
yeah.
cares? I could not care less about that one.
I never care to see a woman's pregnant photo. Like,
No,
I don't give a shit.
no. It's
Not my
just
kid.
it's
I mean, I'm
no.
happy for you.
Great.
I
Yeah,
want you to feel beautiful.
sure.
If you want to hire a photographer and take some nice pregnancy photos to remember that moment in your life, I think that's fantastic.
Yeah.
But if you choose not to share any of that, that is totally fine by me. Could not care
I
less.
want to see the baby.
Even that, nah.
I like the baby. Show me the baby.
Maybe after like 6 months.
Sure. Show me a
The first,
toddler. I
the
want to
first
see your offspring at some point,
every baby the first week or two looks ugly. There's no cute
except
baby.
Oliver.
No. Your baby looked ugly at a week.
No, he didn't.
Yeah, yeah.
Oliver was perfect when he came out.
I
When
don't know what he looked like, but I can guarantee you Oliver was a
he
very
didn't,
ugly
he
twin.
didn't. No, he wasn't. Quinn looked very strange, and we had to work on her look for like 6 months.
What do you mean work on a baby's look? What are you even
She
talking?
had like this dry skin, and like
So
we
it
had
was a
to,
health thing.
yeah, we had to kind of like get the womb off of her, you know? Like
She
really.
didn't want to leave.
And then her like scalp was peeling. It was she has Jimmy's skin. Oliver has my skin, extra oily, prone to acne. But I
That's
mean,
yours or Jimmy's?
me, my skin's oily, Jimmy's is dry. Quinn has Jimmy's skin, Oliver has mine.
Um, Jimmy should moisturize.
Oh, he does.
Oh, good.
But my sister-in-law is a dermatologist, and he will not accept any help with his skin. He likes Aveeno daily moisturizer, and that's all. He's open to no help, no advice, no nothing. He's like, my his hands get so dry that during the winter he'll have like a band-aid on every digit. He just his hands crack, they bleed, and it's like, Jimmy, you should try. And he's like, nope. If Aveeno doesn't cut it, I'm bleeding. It's not
I
the way that I work, but
somewhat recently, within the past couple of years, I messaged my ex-girlfriend Sarah, who is also an alumnus of the show,
yes.
and said, "I think I need to moisturize because I never moisturized in my youth or even in my 20s. I was basically the shampoo and bar of soap guy,
Yeah.
and it worked for me. Like I always had pretty good skin. I never really broke out or anything. But as I've gotten older, I've been starting to see like more hardness, you know."
Mhm.
And so I texted her and said, I think I need to start moisturizing. And she was like, thought you'd never ask. And she sent me links to like 8 different products to buy.
Now, does she have you on the sunscreen? Because I think sunscreen does as my sunscreen is a moisturizer and a sunscreen. And I think sunscreen's really
I
the
think that
number one.
that was in the list of things. I'm not good with sunscreen. Even when I go
Nor
out,
am I. Nor am
I'm
I.
bad. I'm
Yeah.
bad about it. I even I was in the Dominican Republic recently visiting Sarah 'cause she was directing a TV show down there. And she was staying right on the beach. And we went out into the water one day and we were hanging out under umbrellas in the shade on the beach and then we decided to go into the ocean. I was in there for 45 minutes.
Can't wear a hat.
I
You can't
put
wear a
sunscreen.
hat.
I know, but I put sunscreen. I was in there for 45 minutes. My entire back got a sunburn. 45 minutes. Ridiculous.
Yeah.
Absolutely ridiculous.
You might be a shirt guy from here on out.
I don't want to be the shirt
I
guy.
know. I know.
You know,
I
I
know.
was I was when I was a teenager because I was self-conscious about my weight and everything like that. So I would be the guy where like until I was probably 15, I was the guy wearing a t-shirt in the pool. Um, and then I was just like, no, I'm not that. I am who I am.
I am who I
I'm
am.
owning this shit. I'm going out. I got hair all over my back. I got B cups on me. I'm doing it. It's fine.
No one cares. No one's
No
looking
one
at you.
cares. It's fine.
Yeah.
Oh, well, I want them to though. Maybe I'll find somebody who's like, holy shit, look at the hair on that guy's back.
Manly.
Break me off a piece of that. I have like a comforter wherever I go with this dude. It's great.
Yeah.
You know?
I would think that your beard would hurt the I it would drive me crazy to moisturize and then have it all, and then you have to shower basically if you're using a good enough moisturizer.
Yeah, well, I don't really moisturize the like, especially at this thickness. I can't really moisturize the skin underneath it.
No.
But my
But
beard is very thick too.
you can't get it like I do a
I mean, I'll get it like up in here
mm-hmm.
and I'll just kind of have to work around it. But I will use like a beard conditioner and I'll like get all up in it like that, like make my beard
Mm-hmm.
look crazy doing that stuff. Um, but yeah, I don't know. It's more like it's not even the face. I think the face I got covered. It's like the arms, the legs is what but I have hair everywhere. Every there's not an inch of my body that doesn't have. I think my palms are it. And then I
Well,
have this weird non-hairy part on my arm right there.
you
But
just have to embrace it. You just have to
everything else is
embrace it.
hair, you
Yeah.
know?
Yeah.
Makes it harder to moisturize when you have hair. It is what it is.
That's what it is. On that note, I think we might be done with this episode.
Fantastic conversation.
Fantastic. I mean, my mind thoroughly stimulated. I think I've given you a couple things to think about.
Not really, but it was still good. I'm gonna be looking, I'm gonna go on a deep dive to look up upside down photos.
Please. Please.
Yeah. Maybe one day the mass of the earth will implode and half of the world will just fall into space.
Well, we wouldn't be here to see that. So,
What do you mean?
if it, like when we die in the implosion, so that means nothing to me. I'll be gone.
Well, I guess what I'm saying is maybe like there'll still be enough to hold the northern hemisphere.
So we'll survive.
Yeah.
Okay, great.
We'll hear
Okay.
on the news like Australia just fell.
Half the earth fell, but we're
Yeah.
cool.
New
If
Zealand's
you want to do any research on any of these topics, I'm very interested on how the gravity originates in the middle of the earth. If you just want to do a little,
Google.
if you have a scientist friend,
Mhm.
maybe we should get a scientist on here.
That would be great.
Yeah.
That would be super helpful.
Like, I got a couple questions for you.
Yeah. What is
Yeah.
a star?
Yeah.
Tell me what a star is.
Does a star have gravity?
Yeah.
This is question number one.
Am I really looking at a star in the sky when I look at it that the star that I'm looking at is like 1,000,000 years old?
Oh, I love how it's like you can see a star that's already burned out
Mhm.
because so far away. That's fascinating.
But it burned out thousands of years ago.
Yeah, and it's just
You're just seeing it now.
that's cool.
Yeah. It is cool, but it's also like why isn't light just instantaneous? Why can I not?
Why does light travel faster than sound? Exhibit A, thunder and lightning.
Mhm.
Because
Mhm.
they occur at the same time, correct? It's
Mhm.
not the lightning and then the thunder comes. It's like one.
Or when you see an explosion and like the windows blow out and then 10 seconds later you hear the impact. You know?
Good one. Speaking of impact, where are you on the cargo ship hitting the bridge?
I thought you were gonna ask about
I
this.
feel like that's all on the up and up.
I shouldn't laugh about it. Obviously, it's horrible.
Horrible.
I think it was just a horrible accident. I really do. I know you probably don't, but
No, I haven't looked into it, so I don't have an opinion
I
one
just
way or
had I
the other.
have cleaners that come every 2 weeks, and clean up the condo. And it's a husband and wife. And on the way out, the husband asked me, he's like, so what do you think about that ship, the bridge? I'm like, I think the power went out, they lost control, and it was just a horrible thing. He's like, yeah, but the power went on right after it hit the bridge. So like, didn't they just turn it on and off? I was like, but why? Why
I
would they?
did. One weird thing was like after the power went out, the ship made a turn. Just apparently, you can't turn a ship if the power's off and like the current wasn't going fast enough to like whip the ship around. So I heard some scientists be like, that's odd to me, but I think it was an accident. But the reason I bring up the ship is in what is possibly the greatest moment of our marriage. I woke up, the ship thing happened in the middle of the night. I woke up and Jimmy goes, hey babe, uh, do you hear about that ship thing? I'm like, what? He's like, happened in the middle of the night. I'm like, why would I sleep? And he was like, okay, well, like a cargo ship hit the bridge. And I mean, I don't know, but I find it very curious that the power went out right before it hit the bridge. And I was like, I love you.
Someone's on my level. Someone's on my level.
So happy. I was like, Jimmy and I got into, I said, we're taking this off, but I find, when I talk, it's very interesting to me.
Right. Yeah.
A couple of weeks ago in the throes of the Kate Middleton thing, Jimmy and I went on a date and he had like a very serious talk with me. And he's like, honey, I don't think that believing in conspiracy theories is good for your mental well-being. I think that you're a little like depressed now that you know about these things. And I'm just, you know, I'm just concerned that maybe you have like opened your mind up too much to the possibilities. And I go, I think you've closed your mind off too much. And he was like, fair enough.
And dropped it.
Yeah. I mean, we had to move on at that point because the moment I said that, we're at a bar or a restaurant bar where we knew some people. The moment that I said that, a couple walked up and they were like, Blake, I saw you talking about Kate Middleton. What do you like? Is she dead? Like, what's going on? Da, 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 da. And I was like, thank you for asking. I have a ton of theories. This is pre-cancer. And then they left and I was like, Jimmy, I'm not the only one.
Also, like, I seemed happy there, didn't I?
Wasn't I just thrilled?
Didn't I light up when I had that conversation with that couple?
Yeah. Yeah.
Whatever you need to do to get through the day. As long as you're not hurting anybody, believe whatever you want. 1 + 1 is 5. Okay?
Am I pushing my views on anyone else? No, I'm just.
And that's the other thing. Like, I think, well, whatever people want to say about the whole Kate Middleton conspiracy stuff, whether it's untoward or whatever, I do understand that. But at the same time, like, you're talking about it on your own Instagram page. People are offended. Don't follow you. Just unfollow you. Block you.
Unfollow,
Whatever
block,
they gotta do.
whatever. Yeah.
You know?
Um. Yeah. One of the reasons he thinks that I like depressed is because
You're depressed.
always, but sometimes more than other
Yeah.
times. But because I've been focusing so much on art this year, painting is like a very solitary thing. Like I'm on my own path and it's just me and my mind. And I spend a lot of time in my own brain making decisions, and there's no sounding board of like, is this insane? No, I don't ask anyone's opinion because I honestly don't care, but I just spend so much time in here. And sometimes I like to hit a conspiracy in the middle of the day just to get off my own bullshit, And that was his concern. He's like, I think you're spending too much time alone. And I'm like, that's the way I like it. But I may one day go insane.
And you're also like, I'm not alone. I have a whole online presence full of fucking freaks who get into this shit with
Yeah.
me.
I'm not alone.
I have a ton of weirdos that I talk to. Don't worry
Sure.
about
Sure.
it.
I've got a vast social network. They just, oh, Jimmy's home. All right. Now I really have to end it.
Okay.
All right.
Until next time,
Bye.
everybody.